Okay, it's game time.
Shoot!
Get down! Hasta luego.
Feast on this!
What up, it's Shankster94, also known as the Gamer Shankster, and welcome to my remastered weapon review of Resident Evil Dead Aim. So as usual with my content, as most of you dedicated viewers already know, I'm practically unable to jump right into it without wanting to say a bunch of stuff. So I'll be courteous and provide you impatient scrubs with a timestamp to get straight to the weapon showcase. So to start, let me explain what I mean by remastered. This is simply a high-definition rendering of the PS2 title. This game natively runs at 480p standard definition. The fact that you're seeing it in 720p high definition is thanks to the PCSX2 PS2 emulator that I have installed on my PC. This allows me to display the game much better than the native PS2 ever could. My original weapon review of this game, as you're seeing a snippet of here, was recorded straight off of my physical PS2 system. As you can see, it's not too bad, and is rather tolerable if you grew up on standard definition like myself. But in today's day and age, the demand for higher quality is ever present, and because I have the resources to do so, unlike back then, I might as well give you guys a visual upgrade, as well as better quality of content, because I feel like my style of reviewing has only gotten better over the years. If you're interested in watching that original weapon review at all, you can now find it on my TGS Classics channel. Now here's a brief rundown of how I showcase weapons in these reviews. I start by introducing them in the inventory, reading their descriptions if provided, and revealing their location in the game. I then proceed to test fire the weapon in a safe environment free of nearby enemies, preferably at close-up angles and good lighting so you can get a nice detailed look. Afterwards, I choose an appropriate enemy to use the weapon on and review the amount of hits it took to take them down. I usually stick with the same enemy for the remainder of the weapon category to allow for comparison between the weapons of it. Something that can be considered controversial in my reviews is my choice of where to shoot the enemy. In a game like this that's heavily reliant on headshots, I can understand if certain people get internally triggered when seeing me not going for the head. I always aim for the torso, and the reason is because I'm trying to give you guys the most basic damage report, and a headshot isn't going to do that. Finally, I give my final thoughts and move on to the next weapon in the lineup. Alright, well, that's all I can think of necessary to say, so let's go ahead with what you guys came here for. Alright, to kick off this weapon review, we're gonna start straight off with the firearms. The reason is because this game, Resident Evil Dead Aim, has no melee weapons, no knives, no throwing weapons, nothing. We get to start straight off with the firearms. And of course, we're gonna start with the pistols, my usual starting weapon category besides melee weapons. So the first one is the handgun. This customized automatic pistol holds a clip of 9x19mm shells. I'm pretty sure it's semi-automatic, but okay. So this is Bruce Mckibben's starting weapon in the game. There is no location for it. I don't think Fong Ling can get it at all unless you unlock all the weapons with infinite ammo at the end of the game by getting an S rank with hard mode. If you get an A rank in normal mode, I believe you do get all the weapons at the start of the game. You get a S rank in normal mode, you get them all with infinite ammo besides the charged particle rifle. You get an A rank in hard mode, the same thing, and then an S rank in hard mode, you get all of the weapons with infinite ammo, like I actually have here. I need to tell you guys, actually, I am playing this in hard mode, which is kind of against what I usually do in my weapon reviews. Normally I do like the average mode, which would be normal mode in this case, but this is the game save I had, so I kind of neglected that. It's okay, because the way I see it, if I give you the statistics in hard mode, then you'll know it will take less than that in easier modes. So there you go. Alright, so let's go ahead and test this baby out. Here's Bruce holding it in game. Here we go. Just so you know, there is no set firing speed. I could spam fire this, watch. There you go. And yeah, there is no reload animation scene because, as you see, while the game plays in third person over the shoulder, aiming is in first person. So you can't physically see the gun in action, unfortunately. So yeah, this weapon review is gonna be somewhat generic. So that was testing the gun out. As you can see, yeah, it has a fast fire rate if you spam the trigger. And yeah, here's a handgun ammo. You know, what's funny is, even though I have infinite ammo, it uses up the ammo if I reload until it's all gone. So that's why I don't have ammo for some other weapons, because I was using them on my way to this point, so I could just stockpile health and whatnot. But yeah, there you go. All right, so there's the handgun for you. I'm gonna test the handgun on a standard zombie. Alright, so 10 shots to defeat the zombie. Now, just in case, I'm gonna do some further tests, because there are a couple more zombies right out here. So based on the test, it looks like it'd take 9 to 10 shots to defeat a standard zombie. I've had occurrences where it took as little as 8 shots, and then some zombies here and there, for some reason, they can take only 1 shot. It must be like a scripting thing, like in the game or not. But on average, it usually takes 8 to 10 shots to defeat a standard zombie in hard mode if you go for the torso. It'll probably take way less shots if you go for the head. And I might as well emphasize this. This game is very reliant on headshots, so you should actually go for that. Again, the only reason I'm going for the torso is to give you an average damage rate, okay? So that is gonna go ahead and conclude the handgun, since we have nothing else to compare it to yet.
Sorry, but my dance card is full.
Now for the next handgun, the silencer handgun. This silencer handgun is good for avoiding detection when attacking. No shit, that's what the silencer is for. So, cool thing about the silencer handgun, and as you can see in my inventory, it is Fong Ling's starting weapon in the game when you start using her for the first time. You can find the silencer handgun with Bruce in guest room 206 on the ship. If we go into this room over here, and here it is on this chair. There you go. So yeah, that's how to get the silenced handgun, so let's go ahead and test it out with Fong, since it's more or less her weapon. So the fire rates do cap at some point. Bruce's gun fires a lot faster than Fong's. Fong's gun is pretty slow, as you can see here, but it's silent, so you avoid detection. Alright, so let's go ahead and test the silencer handgun on some zombies. So just like Bruce's handgun, it took 9 to 10 shots to defeat these zombies. So these handguns are probably not far apart in terms of firepower, but they do definitely have different statistics in terms of fire rate, and of course the silencer is quieter. Alright, so that's all I have to say about the silenced handgun, so that is it for it. Now for the next and final handgun, the semi-automatic handgun. This handgun can fire bursts of 3 rounds at one time. Okay, so you notice they get their facts wrong? Like, they call this an automatic handgun when it's actually semi-automatic, and they call this a semi-automatic when it's a burst fire. Alright, so the location of the semi-automatic handgun is in guest room 302 on the ship. Over here on the bed. Here you go. Semi-automatic handgun. Alright, so let's test this out. If you time it just right, you could fire this just like an automatic pistol. So, yep, obviously, as you guys saw, it is burst fire, so it probably is an ammo eater. We're gonna find out just how much damage it deals. Since it's burst fire, I have a feeling it's gonna take less shots, but let's see. Alright, so that second zombie took 11 shots, but it's only because I'm pretty sure one of those, if not a couple, were near leg shots. I was aiming kind of low. A little too low, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it appears that this handgun's firepower still doesn't range far from the other two handguns. All of these handguns are taking around the same amount of shots. So there's no difference in firepower, it seems. It's rather just the difference in the way the gun acts, really. Like fire speed, obviously this one is the king, and it also is the highest capacity, but it has to be in that burst fire. The only drawback to this handgun, I would say, is the fact that it probably eats up through the ammo pretty fast if you're not careful with those shots. Other than that, though, this probably could be considered the best handgun in that regard. I don't know. To each their own. My personal favorite handgun happens to be the silenced handgun. That's just me. All right, that is going to conclude the semi-automatic handgun, so-called. And that is going to conclude all of the handguns. All right, now for the next weapon category, and there's only one in it. Assault rifle. This Special Forces drum machine gun can fire 100-round bursts. So yet another factual error. This is not an assault rifle. This is a light machine gun. So a lot of inconsistencies in this game, it seems. Anyway, though, the location of the assault rifle happens to be in the clean room, when you're playing as Bruce, anyway. Here it is in this locker. Assault rifle. Another thing about the assault rifle is you start off with it if you play as Fong Ling, along with her silenced handgun. Let's go ahead and test it out. Here it is in game. Coolio. Looks pretty generic. Alright. Epilepsy seizure warning. There are bright flashes coming about, so you might want to stop this if you are epileptic. Here we go. Alrighty then, spam power. So the assault rifle, as it's called, which is not right, I am not going to test on a zombie like I did in my original weapon review of this game. I am going to test this out on the Halberd, which is the giant bee bug boss. Alright, so that took me around 125 shots with the submachine gun to defeat. It was probably just slightly less than that because the animation started a little before I hit the 75 mark on my machine gun right there. So I conclude about 120, 122 maybe submachine gun shots. Now I understand that I went for mostly the face in that scenario, but that's only because it was forcing me to that point, and that was the only way that I could accurately hit that thing only and none of its offspring. So that's why I had to do it like that. That is one of the best weapons for it, and you better have some health on you when you battle that thing. Alright, so that is gonna conclude the assault rifle. Did I call it submachine gun at some point? Now for the next weapon, the shotgun, and this is also the only shotgun in its class. This wide area attack weapon is most effective at close range. Well, that's how I usually use shotguns, and that is how a shotgun should be used for the most part. So that's how we'll test it. But anyway, so the shotgun can be found in the freezing room near the kitchen on the ship. You wander in here, and here it is, conveniently placed next to some shells. Now, the thing about taking this shotgun and the shells, I believe it triggers all these zombies, or as soon as you start exiting the room. Yep, there you go. So you have to act fast and get out. Let's go ahead and test it out now. Here it is in game. Alright, obviously sounds a lot louder, so this should pack more of a punch for things. So we're gonna go ahead and test the shotgun, like my original weapon review, on a hunter. Alright, so that took 4 shells from the shotgun to defeat the hunter at close range, as you should use it. So, that's all there is to it, since I'm not comparing it to anything else, really. So, that will conclude the shotgun. Now for the next weapon category, which happens to be my favorite, the Magnums. And the one and only one, like all the other categories it seems other than handguns, is this Magnum. This large pistol fires Magnum shells for max damage and penetration. Alright, so the location of the Magnum happens to be in the bedroom next to the captain's room. And once you're in there, the only way to unlock that room is by collecting this file over here. The ship's log. As soon as you collect that file, the captain shall burst out of his room, and you can either dodge him or defeat him, and then you can get the Magnum. And here it is right on his bed. I think he used it to kill himself, but unsuccessful, unfortunately. All right, let's go ahead and test it out. Bruce holding it. Massive firepower sounding right there. Let's go ahead and test this baby on the Halberd. Alright, so 15 shots with a Magnum to take down the Halberd. The thing is pretty strong, I'm telling you. Compare that with 120 something shots it took the assault rifle to defeat it. Yeah, this thing's firepower is like more than 10 times powerful than a single shot of the assault rifle, it seems. Alrighty then, this will conclude the Magnum in terms of reviewing it, but we're gonna keep to my awesome Magnum tradition. We're gonna take this Magnum, since it's the only one, and we're gonna take it to a standard zombie's head for a massive critical headshot. Headshot! Alright, that is going to conclude my favorite weapon of this game, the Magnum. Alright, now for the one and only explosive weapon, the grenade launcher. This launcher fires 6 grenade rounds from a revolving chamber. Alrighty. So the location of the grenade launcher is one of these passages in this long series of waterways. Specifically, right when you start the waterways. So it is around this corner next to this door that is inaccessible. Here you go. Grenade launcher. Let's go ahead and test it out. Here it is in game. All right, explosion. Now let's go ahead and test this on the Halberd. Alright, that took 15 grenade rounds to take down the Halberd. So, judging from that test, it looks like the grenade rounds have similar firepower to Magnum rounds. So, maybe the difference is the grenade launcher, since it's a blast, maybe there's some blast radius damage. I'm not sure, to be honest. But yeah, that's a good way to compare the grenade launcher to something else in terms of firepower. And that's going to go ahead and conclude the grenade launcher. Now for the final weapon of Resident Evil Dead Aim, the Charged Particle Rifle. This anti-life form weapon accelerates and fires highly charged particles. Alrighty then. So this is an experimental weapon only found in this game. If you can compare it to anything that's been seen before in the Resident Evil series, I would compare it to the linear launcher in Resident Evil Code Veronica. So the location of the Charged Particle Rifle is here in the laboratory at basically the final section of the game. Right after you defeat the Halberd, you get into this room, through that door, and you come around here, and here it is over in the corner. Charged Particle Rifle. Then as soon as you take it, these zombies burst out, and you can actually use it right on them. I think it coaxes you to do that. Let's test this baby out. Look at that beast. Alright, so this weapon inherently has infinite charges, I guess, until you use it what it's meant to be used for on Morpheus. Then it becomes unusable for some reason. And it's not giving me much of a result just by testing it on a wall. So being the final weapon of the game, you could basically call it the rocket launcher of Resident Evil Dead Aim. As you can see, there is no rocket launcher in Dead Aim. We're gonna test this on a variety of enemies. So enjoy the slideshow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my remastered weapon review of Resident Evil Dead Aim. I really hope you all enjoyed. It's always fun to go back to weapon reviews. I say it every time, and I'll continue saying it from here on out. And I'm very glad I was able to get this to you guys in very high quality. Alright, so next thing I'll be doing, of course, I'll be going back to full plays, and I'll be fully playing Resident Evil Outbreak. And then when I'm done with that, I'll probably do a remastered weapon review of that game as well. So look forward to all that. So until then, this is Shankster94, aka The Gamer Shankster. Rate, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shankster_94. Check out my Facebook page. Support me on Patreon. Shout out to Wyatt for being my one and only patron. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out!